hold up. So Sam doesn't know about this part of the video, but I got her one more thing. I'm gonna go get it. Okay?
Cause I'm your sister and always for you. And I don't know what I'd ever do without you from the beginning.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel.
Hey guys.
So today we're gonna bring you a video about virtual law school. The way this idea even came about, I was speaking to someone who is an incoming 1L at Columbia, and a lot of the advice that I was giving, I realized that I had to make caveats for. Because it was like, oh wait, you won't be able to do that. Oh wait, you don't have the back to school gym. Oh wait, maybe you shouldn't join that organization. So that's why we're bringing this video to you. We're gonna try to highlight some of the positive things about having law school on a virtual platform, because you don't have a choice, but hopefully some of these things will kind of change people's mind a little bit. Or not change people's mind, but kind of give people a different perspective.
Yeah, because I feel like I don't think it's that negative.
You don't think it's that negative?
We can get into that.
Okay, definitely, because I have a different perspective. I feel like it's all bad.
All bad.
All bad. And I just want to let people know, like, okay, these are a few positive things within it.
So maybe I should start then.
Yeah, you should start.
So one thing that I've been thinking about since we decided we're gonna talk about this, 1L, well, 1L specifically.
Okay.
I feel like in the classroom, I didn't get that much. That feeling of like being on call, I feel like you can do via Zoom. Like you can have people on call via Zoom. You can like have, there are like a bunch of Zoom, if the teachers are pretty old, so like if they know how to work all this technology, like you can have a panel, you can have people be on call like we did in the classroom. But I felt like classroom engagement wasn't super helpful for me 1L. It started being more helpful when I started taking the more untraditional classes later on, like discussion, like Kim Crenshaw's class, where discussion was like a pivotal point. But I didn't feel like discussion was that pivotal for me. I did feel like the people who didn't go to class 1L did better. And looking back, some of my classes, I kind of wish I didn't go and studied instead.
Like during that block? During that block,
because that's not, I know like you're not supposed to think of it that way, but that's not, discussion is not what I was being tested on. It would have been more effective for me to like,
I know what class you're talking about.
Exactly, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It would be more effective for me to study during that time. So in that way, I feel like there are some pros to not, or not pros, but like it's not a hindrance in the classroom. I think the huge hindrance comes outside the classroom.
Okay.
And like the socializing and like all the orientation events, which are really helpful. Just the network of being in law school, you're building a professional network. That part is a huge, to me, is like a huge negative. And then later on when you're doing like the externships, that's really hard via Zoom, and like the clerkships and like all those other,
you can't really get the hands-on experience that you expect.
The clinics and stuff. But I feel like 1L curriculum wise, I don't see that much of a negative, is what I'm trying to say. I gotta push back.
I push back because that was what I loved about 1L.
You love the classroom.
Yeah, it's like everything that you're referring to, I agree that we weren't tested on. However, I think that you learn that when you study for the bar. But what did I get from 1L? That's what I got. That philosophical conversation that we had in that classroom every day.
And like that's the difference between me and you, because you like stuff like that and I don't. Like
exactly.
I don't like philosophy. I don't like to sit there and debate philosophy. I want to
like theory.
I want to talk about the practicality.
Learn in
of my
hand.
life. Yeah, it's like I don't enjoy stuff like that. I want to see like how we're gonna change tomorrow. So that's why I didn't enjoy that.
I agree. So for some more context, basically the way that that class was taught, it wasn't the typical, here are the rules, here how you apply it, here are the examples. It was more, let's debate this. Let's talk about what's actually going on here. Let's talk about why this law is even what it is and what it means and what it looks like. And I enjoyed that. Everyone thought that class was super boring. People used to sleep. But I was one of my favorite classes.
I used to draw in that class.
One of my favorite classes, one of my favorite professors. I was staying office hours.
I didn't enjoy that. But even the classes that I enjoyed, like for example, what was that? Civ Pro. Like I enjoyed that class, but I still think that class being on Zoom is not, it's not affecting my experience that much. Oh, I can't go to office hours. Office hours are weird via Zoom, so I guess that's...
See, I think that's one of the positives to me.
You think office hours is better via Zoom?
Yeah, so I can get into that. So the reason why I think office hours is better via Zoom, one, you don't have a bunch of people sitting on the floor. Like it's not gonna be 50 million people in one classroom trying to talk to one professor. For me, can't speak for everyone, I'm way more comfortable typing things. So I would more so ask a question that I feel like I'm ignorant to over Zoom than I would in person, because
that makes sense.
You have a whole audience when you go to office hours. Everyone wants to hear the questions. Everyone wants to know what's going on. Everyone wants to know what the professor thinks so that they can put the right things down. But now you can just shoot a text over through Zoom, like, hey, what does this mean? And the professor's gonna answer it. They're not gonna be like, what do you think this means? Because no one has time for that.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go through that whole exercise where in person, that does happen. Like there could be 50 people in the room. I ask a question that I think is confusing and I'm trying to receive a concrete answer, but the professor just pushes back like, well, what do you think that means? 49 people staring at you now, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I think that virtual aspect of it will kind of eliminate that portion of office hours, which I think will really let you get down to the nitty gritty, like what does this professor want on this exam? So that's one of the positives I was thinking about.
I wanted to ask you something too, because I was thinking about, because I just realized, well, okay, so part of the social aspect being gone is like a big part of that social / academic, where it kind of crossed over with study groups.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very, very hard to form if you're not meeting people in person. It's like, what do you think about that? I feel like that's a pro or con.
I think it's a con.
Okay.
So that was one of the I think that the biggest con is social, and that's why I think this is horrible, because I think that that's one of the biggest aspects of law school.
Yeah, so you get school period.
From school, period. You learn so much about people.
Yeah.
You learn what they think, where they're from, different perspectives, all these things that you're no longer gonna learn. And that just is horrible.
Yeah, that's part is horrible.
I don't think that you can bridge the gap in Zoom office hours and Zoom coffee dates and Zoom chats.
Yeah.
So even the way our study groups formed, they were very organic. Like the two study groups that I was in, one with you and also the larger one, was just like, hey, I like what you said in legal methods. Do you want to join our study group? How's that really
At me.
happen? At me.
Like that's really what I told you. No, I agree with you 100%, because like that study group I was in with you formed really organically. Like I was in an orientation event and someone was like, do you want to join the study group? But the reason why I said for me it's strictly social is because I didn't get much out of the study group academic wise.
Because we didn't give you our outlines?
No, not even just because y'all didn't give us our outlines. Until we started taking practice tests together, it was like always kind of like this is a way to build relationships type thing. Because I don't learn well in groups.
But I
knew
thought
that about
that
myself.
was the big part. The fact that we met several days a week and took whole practice exams.
But we did that later. I'm saying like the whole
Throughout
the bulk of the semester, we were like talking through cases, talking through notes, things like that. That wasn't super helpful for me. The most helpful part of that study was taking practice tests with you, like taking those like common law exams, like in the classroom and things like that, which that part's gone, I guess.
I think that Zoom would be better for cold calls, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What do you think so?
I think it's less nerve-wracking.
Everyone tells us all the time that no one actually listens to you during cold calls, but it's so hard to get that out of your mind. Where on Zoom, you know no one is listening to you.
Yeah, but then I was gonna say like, cause that's something I'd be worried about, like zero engagement with class. But professors can do things to kind of like force that. Like they can make you, if you're gonna join, make you turn your camera on. Or like,
But why does that, how's that gonna make you pay attention?
because your camera's on, you're not gonna be on your phone.
But this is a huge, huge, huge benefit, I think,
Okay.
when it comes to virtual learning, is that, I don't know if this is true, but I assume that they're gonna record everything.
Right. Yeah.
Where if you missed one day, it could get really rough if your professor doesn't record all the lectures. I think that's
Asking for notes and things like that.
exactly. I think the classes that I felt like I learned the most from and was able to engage the most with is the classes that were recorded, because I was able to go back and see and understand that and make sure that I understood what was going on, things like that.
Same has to go answer an email.
Sorry for the brief interruption. What were we talking about? Another big plus that I think that they'll have is that everything is virtual. That sounds very simple, but there are very old school professors who say paper and pen only.
Oh yeah.
Now you'll have the opportunity to type everything. You can draw it out, map it out on OneNote, that's what it's called, right? All those things. You can basically study and take notes however you want.
I hate when professors did that.
Books only?
Yeah, I know you already took notes by hand, but like I am such a better note taker on my laptop. I can get more down. I can like understand things better when I look back on it. I'm like, ugh, the classes tried to write it out. It's just a struggle.
I think communicating with administration will be a little easier. Send me my email back. Don't make me have to come knock your door 5 times. That is so frustrating, especially when you go to a school that costs $65,000.
And that's the part too. I'm like, that would be a huge benefit of virtual learning if they reduce the freaking cost. Like,
it's ridiculous.
the fact that it's the same
That's
cost,
ridiculous.
and you're getting way less out of it.
That's
It's
so
just-
ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's a business.
But I knew that was gonna happen too, because when we went to UCT, we looked up the UCT tuition,
Yeah.
and it was
University of Cape Town.
$5,000.
Yeah, it was something really low.
Why are we paying $65,000 to go to a school that costs $5,000?
Mhm.
Administration fees.
Yeah, and then
It's a
like y'all aren't
joke.
even doing anything for us in that time. And it's like the administration is doing so much less if you're virtual.
But on the flip side, this is one of the positives I thought about: cost of living. You can definitely cut out that expense if you do things correctly, and if you aren't in one of those shady situations where schools are trying to lock people in to rents, which is insane.
Yeah.
But if you aren't, and you're able to spend some time with your parents, or if you have a home in another state, spend some time in your home so you don't have to pay 2 rents, however it is, because we know everyone's situation is different. I think that this is a great opportunity to cut some costs, especially if you live in a cheaper state and you would have been in New York and now you're not going to be in New York.
Yeah.
Because New York is super expensive. Every law school I can think of in New York, besides Pace, is expensive around it. Because Pace is in Westchester, so it's a little cheaper, but Cardozo's in the city, Brooklyn's in the city,
NYU.
Columbia, NYU, they're all expensive to live around.
Yeah.
When it comes to eating, paying rent, all those things.
So
So
not
not
just living further from school,
exactly.
Yeah.
You can cut costs.
right?
Hopefully. I feel like mental health is going to be a little more difficult for people, for sure. If you're just sitting in your apartment all day studying,
Because it's already kind of isolating.
you have to be very, very intentional about breaks.
Yeah.
Because that can be rough. It already can be rough when you're leaving and going to see people every day, especially for a 1L. You haven't really gotten things down yet. I will say one more positive. I don't know if you have more.
I have more negatives, but I feel like I'm bringing this video down.
I think
So go ahead.
one more positive I was thinking of, even though I don't know how it would work technically, the fact that interviewing and finding jobs has been pushed back or delayed. I think it'll give you more time to explore aspects of the law that you may actually like, instead of following this path that everyone else is following and that you think is cut out for you.
That's real. Yeah. I was gonna say that some of my favorite parts about law school weren't the traditional classroom sense. So like studying abroad, that's completely like wiped out. No one's studying abroad, I'm assuming.
That was one of the ones that I was telling her about, because I was like, watch, you'll see the 3Ls are gonna be abroad and then they're gonna come back, you guys are all gonna start fellowshipping. I was like, oh,
They're not gonna
the
be
3Ls
abroad.
aren't gonna be abroad.
Yeah.
They aren't even gonna be on campus.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that part, retreat, Balsa in general. Like those are like huge bonding moments that are eliminated. So I don't know. Hopefully they try to do some of the like orientation events. I really like the orientation events. I feel like I keep saying that.
If we didn't have orientation events, we probably wouldn't have met.
I know, exactly. And I'm like, well, maybe they'll push that to January.
And just have orientation when people come on campus.
Yeah, so that people will be able to, if coronavirus is over.
Aren't they having one class for guys?
I wasn't sure if that was true. Is that true?
I thought so, but
Oh.
I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Drop your comments if you.
Yeah, let us know if that was
becoming
true.
1L.
I'm not sure if that's true or not. So yeah, lots of pros and cons. I don't know. You have any more pros and cons? I can't.
No, I think that I just really wanted to focus on some of the pros because I think it's all bad. I think it's all a con. It's all a con.
But it's like at least see the silver lining.
At least there's silver lining here. Yeah, hopefully we can contain this virus sooner rather than later, and we
Yeah.
start lowering our numbers, because right now it's insane and it just keeps going up.
Yeah.
Not looking like we getting out until 2022.
Oh Lord. Well, speaking of virtual law school and virtual everything else at this point, we think that right now more than ever, virtual visuals are very important. So we are going to unbox a bunch of new goodies that we got.
Camera haul.
Camera haul. We're reading the room. We're rare of the times, and we know that virtuals are really important. So we were like, why not up some of our equipment?
Exactly. Invest in our content.
Exactly.
So,
started.
let's go. As you said, we have some new equipment got for us. So we got a new microphone. Well, we don't even have a microphone now because we use a B7X Mark II, but now we have a different camera, which we'll see soon. And then we have this Rode on-camera shotgun microphone. I saw some cool stuff about it on YouTube, so hopefully excited to use it. We got a new camera. So this is a Canon EOS 90D. Saw that a lot of YouTubers use this. Hopefully it'll increase the quality of our videos. And then we have a lens to go with it, wide angle lens. I've always wanted a wide angle lens, side note. 10 to 22 millimeters Canon. So yeah. Got the GorillaPod. We were going back and forth on whether we wanted to get a GorillaPod or a gimbal, but I just felt like a gimbal was entirely too much to try to do. And then we have a new tripod. Wanna open them up?
Yeah, hold up. So, Sam doesn't know about this part of the video, but I got her one more thing. I'm gonna go get it. Okay? You ready to wait?
Okay. She being a weirdo. I'm so excited too. Cause like upgrade video content. No travel vlogs, but you know, everything else.
A new drone! We got a new drone! That's why I wanted to wait to do this today, because it was coming in today.
Oh wow!
Sam's been wanting to get a drone for like over 2 years.
David's gonna be jealous.
Because gift, okay?
Oh wow, thanks so much. I wanna open this to help use it. Oh shoot. You'll have to open all of it. I'm opening the drone though. Keep it 100 with you.
You're like, why? I'm like, no reason. So I was like, I checked Amazon, I was like, yeah, it came in already.
Oh shoot.
Just had a random stare to take out the package.
I didn't even notice any of that. Oh wow, 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 wow. This is so cool. Do you have to charge this though?
Mm-hmm.
Like the kids use it right now?
Oh, I don't know. That's the controller.
Scratch. Before you use it.
Don't break it.
I'm not. This is more complicated than I thought it was.
I was successful. I'm knocking stuff over.
Breaking everything.
She's shocked. It's like a little bitty caveat. It is a starter drone. But you know, you gotta get your feet wet first a little bit.
I gotta start.
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere.
Well, just so y'all, as y'all probably can see, I'm the one that's like more into equipment.
Ah.
I'm so excited. I'm ready to take it outside.
She's about to test it out. She bought all that new stuff. And then just went straight for the drone. QC, let me see. QC what it looks like.
I need a memory card. But
Oh snap. It sounds like a bug. Oh, whoa.
this is so cool.
Aw,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Oh, that was the first time. Say it. Say it was the first time.
Stop.
I'm not doing this.
Alright, come on.